Mike Fisher, 24-hour flood response, talking about a tile floor, how to get it dry. In this case, at this house, it was actually the hot water line to this sink burst and flooded. It came out into the other rooms adjacent to this room and then also went downstairs. And so we have a tile floor, and we're going to attempt to dry this with heat. So here's my meter, and we can see that there's moisture in the floor, and it's just going to kind of bounce around. Most tile gives you some sort of reading on this type of meter, but what we're looking for is that it gives us a reading and then it shoots up, maybe maxes out. That's how we're finding out that it's water, not just a false reading or something. Most of the time that happens when you get close to the edges. So as I get close to this edge, I may see it like right there, it was at 600 something. Coming across here, I'm jumping up 800. And so that water gets under that tile and then just holds in there because it's got nowhere to go, right? And so what we're able to do is with heat, or what we call energy in the industry, we're able to dry through that. It takes those molecules, starts getting them moving really quick, and then they find a way out. So downstairs, we have that exposed. The bottom of this floor is exposed downstairs. We've got a dehumidifier down there, we've got air movement down there. Now we're gonna add heat right here, and that should really push that water out. So we'll set up a containment system that's gonna kind of keep that heat low, because this is a fairly high ceiling in here. We want to keep that heat to the ground, and then we'll set that up. I'll walk you through that. We'll just keep an eye on it, and as we get closer and as we get dry, we'll show you how that turns out. Okay, so we pulled out the vanity, and you can see we pulled out the vanity sink and everything like that. It was destroyed. That's where the flood came from. Then we put in a tent, and then now this is a heat unit that's blowing air in there. And if you see the really bright colors, that's the temperatures. And so it's coming out over 100 degrees out there onto that tile. And then I have another air mover in there blowing that around. And we're gonna heat that tile up, and that's how we're gonna get that dry, because it was clean water. Because this was clean water, we can save this. If it were dirty water, if it had feces in it, if it had whatever to make it category 3 water or dirty water, then we wouldn't be saving this, because we'd have contaminants under the tile and in the structure that didn't start there. So because it's clean water, we're gonna save this. Now in here, I've got another air mover hooked up to some lay flat ducting. It's kind of ugly in this situation, but it's as soon as this temperature hit in here at 120 degrees, it's going to kick this air mover on, and it's going to duct out air until it hits 110. So it'll drop it down there. Now what's coming out of the snout of this air mover with the heat is over 100. It's going to be 140-ish, and that is going to be trapped under there for a little bit, and then it's going to come out, and then as soon as it goes over the 120, then it's going to start kicking it out of the house. So right here, we're set up to put a plastic wall in. We haven't done that yet because we wanted to show you what that looked like. The idea is if we can get it nice and hot in here, but controlled hot, and we can do it for enough time, we're going to be able to do it. We're going to be able to dry that out. We're not using a dehumidifier because we're ducting out that warm, wet air out of the window. And that's going to be more effective by bringing in new, cooler, drier air. So this is how we're going to do it. We'll keep you in touch as we keep going. Okay, so we have now dried the floor. It's taken about 3 days to dry it. There were a few spots that were a little stubborn, but I don't think what we were able to show initially was that every tile floor has a baseline on this meter. And so you can get masonry meters, things like that. In this case, we're looking for a differential. If you remember, a few seconds ago in the video, it was pegging all the way to the red, going to all the way to the end. 999 is how this reads at the highest. And now we're about 200, which is what this floor is baseline. And we went and checked it against another bathroom that's in this same house that's very similar to this. So same tile guys laid it. It's a different pattern, but same construction overall. And the baseline up there is 200. So we came through, we put the heat on, we tented it, and in 3 days we were able to achieve dryness. And everything's looking great. The numbers are all good. If you remember, we ducted the hot air out as it came into the room out of the tent. We ducted it out, and we were getting readings of about 140 coming out of our e-Tes. And so that enabled us to get that water pushed out of there. Also downstairs, our ceiling is off. That helped a lot too. So we have a dehumidifier blowing air on that side, hitting it from both sides. We were able to save the brand new tile floor they put in, and now they don't have to remove it. We saved it in place. That is drying out a tile floor in place without having to remove it.